is Barbara Lange, CEO of Kaiba 121 and voluntary secretariat of the Greening of Streaming, here to talk with and doing another member profile of a Greening of Streaming member. And I'm so pleased and delighted to have Elodie Levrel from Broadpeak with me today. Broadpeak being one of the early members of Greening of Streaming. So, Elodie, welcome, and tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yay. Hi, Barbara. Thank you for having me here today. So I'm Elodie. I'm the communication director at Broadpeak. I've been with them for a bit more than 12 years now, I think. And I'm based in New York City.
Great. And what role does Broadpeak play in the streaming industry? Tell us a little bit about the company.
So Broadpeak is a video delivery software solution provider. So we actually have a CDN and video streaming software solutions and services as well that you can use on our platform. We are a French-based company, but operating worldwide. And yeah, I've been in the industry for 13 years now.
Great, great. You've seen a lot already in that time in terms of the evolution. Yeah. So we're
Yes.
here to talk a little bit about sustainability and green streaming. So, what are your motivations around sustainability, would you say, both personally and also for Broadpeak?
Yeah. So maybe I'll start personally then. I think I grew up by the sea, so I've always been a bit caring about the ocean and how to protect it. But really my sort of sustainability journey started more like about 10 years ago when I started, there were different things happening in my life at that time, but I started realizing how much the way we consume, how much the world as it is now is actually impacting the environment, and how much we need to change things and protect the planet. So I started volunteering for several nonprofits, learning a lot about all or many different aspects of the environment, the complexity of the global warming issues. I'm still learning every day about it, I guess, because it is a complex matter. I'm also very passionate about food, so I'm very involved into the ways to fix the food system, because they really play a big role, both in the problem of global warming, but can also be a big solution, probably much more than streaming. Which doesn't mean that we shouldn't do anything about streaming, not at all. I think every industry has a role to play. So yeah, it's this is what's the background for why I care about the environment and sustainability, I guess.
Yeah. And I'm very curious about your food hobby and how that relates to this. I think that's really interesting to have that different perspective from streaming, which is very technical, to the sustenance of our being. So that's really exciting. And how is Broadpeak in terms of its mission around sustainability, and why does it how important is sustainability as part of its ethos, would you say?
Yeah, I think it's been there forever without actually knowing it really, or naming it or identifying it 13 years ago when the company was launched. I think it wasn't such a big issue or topic for many companies, right? Or for the world. It wasn't as present as today. But I think it's always been there. One of our value at Broadpeak is we care. And that really is something I think that people can relate when they know Broadpeak. And behind We Care, we care about the people. We actually always try to make sure that we have the best relationship with our partners or customers, that we provide a good environment for our employees. But there's also We Care about the environment. And that's something that's always been there, I guess, but that is becoming more and more important. And actually, as you know, as I've said before, this is a topic that I've been caring about for so long and so much, that I'm very happy that I can bring that into work as well. And being part of the top management of Broadpeak for a few years now, this is something I've pushed, and I've been very active in making sure that the ESG agenda of Broadpeak is becoming a priority as well. And I didn't have much resistance, you know. It wasn't too hard to convince anyone that it was a very important topic that should be higher up in the priorities. So I think it's always been there. It's just that we are, as we grew as well as a company and organize and structure ourselves as well, it became more and more evident that we should verbalize it and share it and actually make it part of the whole strategy. So that's what we're doing. And I think it's important to say maybe that we do it at two different levels. There's obviously the corporate aspect, if I can call it that, which is all the practices that we have as a company, as, you know, workers, in the way we commute, in the way we travel, in the way we, you know, deal with waste. We're actually going through our first carbon footprint evaluation now, to make sure that we can, you know, emphasize and work even more and further into reducing our carbon footprints. But we're also working on the product and the solution that we offer to make sure that they actually are more sustainable, or at least more energy efficient. And yeah, we actively working on that through greening of streaming, but also doing other things while we are designing the products, while we are releasing new versions, optimizing it. And I've actually put together a little working group. I'm not an engineer, so I'm not the one who can actually develop and design those products. But we've put a group together to make sure that we can brainstorm, discuss how we can include more efficiency, energy efficiency in our products, so that we can share it with the industry and our customers, and also how we can talk about it and track the progress that we're making, because I think that's also important.
Yeah. So it's your sort of beginning on a more formalized sustainability journey, where you've been sort of living it a bit, but now formalizing it by verbalizing it, as you say, and also it sounds like beginning to embed the philosophies of sustainability within your product planning, your strategy, and things like that. So that's great. And you know, going through assessments and things of that sort are really important, so that we can know where we are and then measure progress from that. Well, so we're here around greening of streaming. So can you talk a little bit about Broadpeak's interest in greening of streaming, and why you think it's important to belong to an organization like this one?
Yeah. Sure. I think so. Broadpeak was actually one of the co-founder of Greening of Streaming, because when Dom came to us and you know, shared his idea, I think we just immediately loved it and thought it was very aligned with what we think is important, which is, for me, really to put the industry together, to be able to work together in that sustainability topic, which is, I think, crucial. And because I think everyone can work on their own, it's great, but we do need to tackle the problem as a whole. and that's something we can only do all together. So we were very excited. We joined the very first day, and we are actually involved in different working groups as well. So the working group 7, which is energy as a KPI for
Yep.
standards, I
Yeah.
believe is led by Christoph Newman, who's one of our engineers. We also involved in the working group 4 and the live events energy measurements. I'm involved with you, Barbara, and others in the working group 2 as well for outreach. And we have lots of our Broadpeakers that are actually following what's happening, sharing some input with us so that we can reflect within greening of streaming. And I think it's great that we have different actors from the industry, including competitors, right, working together in finding ways. And maybe the streaming industry is a bit more on the early stage when it comes to finding ways to make it more sustainable. But it's great that we can be all together and set some sort of, maybe not standards, but common language and common understanding so that we can, again, tracking the progress that we all doing.
Yeah, I think the value of these industry groups is certainly the collaboration, but also just the sharing of knowledge, and because we're each sort of at a different level sometimes, and just to get everybody on the same page, and it's a very important aspect. Um, so my last question is, if you were able to do anything in terms of really making advances in sustainability in the media sector, what do you think are the top issues, and what would you like to tackle first, and solve very quickly if you could?
I
Wave a
think
magic
that's
wand.
yeah, I think there's no easy answer to this question.
Yeah.
Especially because the video streaming is a complex system and process, right? That includes so many different actors, all playing a different roles in that video preparation, video distribution chain. So yeah, I don't think it's great that if each part of that chain works on reducing the energy that they use, but I really think it's actually working on the global chain because everything is so interconnected that we can't do
Yeah.
things on our own, because it probably impacts what's ahead and what's after you. So I really think it's actually all together that we can have the biggest impact. So maybe one of the things that we would need to work on first is making sure that we all align on either a language, a goal, so that we all, are on the same page of what we're trying to achieve and work towards the same goal, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's like one specific item that would sort of sort everything else, or most of everything. It's not an easy answer to give.
Yeah. Well, and it's a process too. It's an evolution, and I think the first step is that, like we said before, the collaboration and knowledge sharing that is so important. Yeah, great. Well, Elodie, thank you so much for taking some time today and sharing your insights. I'm glad to have met you also through the greening of streaming, and look forward to working with you even more. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Barbara.